he takes Alaska to a whole new level with us. His dad had a small airplane. Small airplanes are a big part of life for many people in Alaska. Not all people in Alaska by any means, but there is there's a much bigger concentration of small airplanes in Alaska than other places. And so he grew up with his dad flying. And so he also has his pilot's license and loves to hunt and fish and just took it all to a whole new level. So when we finished college, we moved back up here as quickly as possible. He is an accountant. And I was an elementary school teacher until our oldest son was born. And now I stay home with the kids. And so I'm here available ready to get us ready for adventures all summer long and all winter long. And yeah, so that is kind of our story.
Oh, outstanding. So that's really interesting to me that, I mean, your kids have really never lived outside of Alaska. So, what's that like when you guys go and visit other states?
So my parents are what is called snowbirds. They live up in Alaska in the summertime, and then they live in Arizona in the wintertime. So we will go and visit Arizona in the winter. It's always good to plan some sort of trip out of Alaska at some point during the winter, just because it can get really, really long with the dark. And so we try and plan a trip to either Hawaii or to visit grandma and grandpa in Arizona. And they love it. They love Arizona in the winter time when it's like 70 degrees. If we go anywhere and it's hot, they have very little tolerance for heat. But they have an amazing tolerance for cold. They will stay out on a frozen lake ice fishing for hours with, proper clothing and some hot chocolate and a fire pit. We try and prepare for those kind of things to make sure that they can stay out, but it's amazing what Alaska kids can do. But they do enjoy going out. But we don't travel a whole lot because there's no reason to leave Alaska during the summertime, but we will try and make a trip outside of Alaska at some point each winter.
Gotcha. So I guess Florida is probably not going to be the place they gravitate towards when they get older, huh?
No. They're welcome to go wherever they want, but several of them I think will be joining us back in Alaska after college and things because they follow after my husband and just like love everything about Alaska.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's so cool that you've got, the dad in there that's, just actively involving the kids and kind of the lifestyle of living up here in Alaska. It's not just enjoying the state, but I mean, also it's having that responsibility of taking care of the family and all that too. Because I mean, that's something we'll jump in here in a little bit. But I remember before you mentioned that you guys don't really shop for a whole lot of meat, so a lot of it is going to be like the hunting, the fishing. So it really sounds like you kind of instill a lot of responsibility in those boys right from the get-go here.
Yeah. So my husband's family has always hunted. I did not grow up doing that. But when we got married, his parents were like, hey, we got a moose. Come and help butcher that moose. And so I was just like, okay. And at first it was very strange to me how just it all worked. I just had never been around any of that. As the years went by and we got a moose, someone in the family got a moose every year and we help each other out do the butchering. I was like, okay, I got to figure out where I fit in this. And now it is an entire family activity. I'm just editing a video right now from our moose hunt this year. It'll come out this Sunday, and it shows how the entire family is a part of the harvesting and butchering process. Our oldest son, who is 12, got his first moose. So he is even a part of the hunting process this time. That is his first big game animal. And we just all help and we all find our spots in what we do. I will never know every cut of meat. That's just not something that I'm interested in. But I am really good at using the grinder to grind up the meat. I'm really good at packaging it. So we all find our way. And so between that and the fish, I'm going to have a visitor here in just a second. It's just, that's part of our family. Hold on. Sorry.
It's like, this is the real authentic life here, people. Real authentic life. So real quick, while Lauren's taking care of family there, um, yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know we do have an announcement that I'll be talking about here at the end. I'm pretty excited about a new development for the channel, but Lauren, got you back.
Yeah.
Crisis averted.
Yeah, the 12-year-old should be able to help him. So he wants a pretzel.
Outs. Well, I get it. That's important. That's a priority. So, Lauren, real quick, I've got a question here, and the first one is from Lakota Galliford. Lauren, you stated that you moved to Alaska when you were 14. What was the biggest culture shock other than the weather that you experienced?
Let me think. So the darkness is a big culture shock. It gets very dark. I actually moved here in November from Texas. So the cold and the dark immediately was just like, oh, this is very different. Um,
Yeah. What part of
just
Texas did you move from?
right outside of Houston.
Oh, so it was like all humid. That's like the humid heat you're used to too, and you're coming up here.
Yeah, it was very, very different. It took me a while to make friends, and then just because we came in the middle of the year, but that didn't really matter. But just one of the biggest culture shocks was just like kind of the extreme hobbies that people have here. We just were like, when summertime rolled around, just the hunting and fishing, well, not hunting for us, but just the fishing culture and things like that. The We were always shocked by just how gorgeous it is here. It's just a land of extremes, extreme weather, extreme beauty, extreme light and darkness. So that was one of the biggest changes.
Did you find that, I mean, obviously you were coming in about halfway through the year. Did you find like the kids were pretty receptive to, people moving in from you know, from the outside and kind of making room and being friendly when you first got there?
That was a really long time ago.
Okay.
It was important. I was actually just reflecting on this today. It was important to immerse myself and get involved in things. I had a little bit of a hard time making friends coming in November, but then I joined the intramural basketball team, and I actually just had several girls from that intramural basketball team visiting my house last week. So I was able to make some really good friends that then just lasted through high school and beyond. So um, I community, there are great communities here, especially if you get involved in church congregations and things like that. There are wonderful people up here. You just got to find your place.
Yeah, I mean, find the place and kind of find your activity too, because I
Yes,
mean, that's
activity based.
really, yeah, that's really how you meet people up here. I mean, it's really easy to do if you're into fishing or into hunting. So, I mean, I'll go down like combat fishing or whatever, be shoulder to shoulder with people, and easiest thing ever to do is to strike up a conversation. And I mean, my older brother, he gets really social very quickly when we're down there and talking with people. And usually he'll kind of stick to himself a little bit, but yeah, just a completely different vibe once he's down there with everybody. Because I mean, everyone's got the same interest there, so it's just very easy to kind of bond with people that are down there.
And I like to just ask people, especially if I meet somebody that lives maybe out in the bush or in a very small Alaska community, I just ask questions and start listening. And people have the most amazing lives and stories. People that live in off grid cabins, like you can have whatever kind of life you want in Alaska. That's one of the really cool things. You can live in a dry cabin, you can live in a neighborhood, you can live in an apartment building. Like you can live in a very small town. You can't live in a huge town, that we don't have huge cities, but you can live in Anchorage and have grocery stores and Costco and things like that. There's just whatever of that spectrum you want, Alaska can give it. So that's really fun.
Right. So, I mean, I know you guys live in Eagle River now. So, what do you guys think you're gonna eventually move somewhere else that's might be a little bit more kind of I hate using the word off grid because it's such an overused abused word, phrase.
Remote, I guess.
More remote. Let's use that. You guys think you'll ever go find something more remote?
So I just say we like to have the best of both worlds. I love my home. I love Costco. I love being able to run right to the grocery store. But we also have a cabin that is off grid on the ocean. And we go there usually for a week at a time because it takes either a airplane ride and a boat ride or a drive, a 5-hour drive, a 45-minute ferry ride, and then a 15-minute boat ride to get there. So you once you're there, you want to be there for a while. So we kind of get the best of both worlds. We spend at least 3 weeks there over the course of the summer. So we
Where's
may get
that
another
at?
cabin somewhere like in interior Alaska someday, but for now we just love to come home and then love to go camp and fly places, and I feel like we can get the best of both worlds living in a bigger city.
Right, right. So where's that cabin at? Like, that sounds like Homer?
It's Seldovia, so you have to get to Homer, which is, 300 miles from Anchorage, and then you have to get across to Seldovia, which requires an airplane or a boat ride.
Yeah, that's some commitment to get out
Yeah.
there. Well, outstanding. So probably not going to be Airbnb-ing that thing out anytime soon.
No.